Hi, good morning, good evening to all of you who have joined. And what I'm going to try and do today is to first introduce some of the work that we are doing at the World Bank, which is of relevance to GeoGLOWS, and talk a bit more also about some of the resources that we've put together to try and support some of the activities here. My name is Harsh, and I'm a global lead for something called disruptive technology at the World Bank. And I've been here for about 24 years working on environment, water, and other natural resources, and especially related to the use of new technologies in a lot of the work. And I also co lead our hydroinformatics group at the World Bank. As you know, the world faces a lot of different development challenges, and the world has come together to try and uh, capture these as part of sustainable development goals going ahead. A lot of these challenges take the form of social aspects, where many people in the world today still live in ways that nobody should. And also environmental aspects, where a lot of our natural resources are under threat from many different aspects. And also on trying to look at economic goals that we are trying to support countries on to try and look at both improving growth as well as making sure that it is shared prosperity in terms of the work that's happening, and to make sure that the infrastructure and other aspects are well taken care of in terms of these areas. So a lot of these will stretch our resources to try and make sure that we can help cater to all of these different triple bottom line aspects in terms of going ahead. For this work, one of the new angles that we are looking at is the use of new types of technologies. Some of these could be technologies related to disrupting decision making by relooking at the data value chain, which we'll come to in a second, where you're looking at new ways of collecting data from in situ sensors or crowdsourcing from the ground, as well as earth observation, and also look at new ways of analyzing and managing this data using more and more open kind of data approaches, so that this could be used to help support understanding and decision making in this regard. Also, new ways of disrupting production or operation systems using new technologies on automation, robotics, 3D printing, new materials, and so on, as well as disrupting interaction among people using more of the platforms that are emerging to connect people together in new ways. So if we look at the first one, which is most relevant here, if we look at one particular problem in terms of how people deal with floods, usually we start at the data level and see what data there is to try and support that activity. But it's best to start at what decisions you're trying to support in terms of helping people better cope with floods. To do that, we need better knowledge on when the floods are coming and knowledge about what to do once you get the warnings about that. And to do this, we need better weather forecasts, hydrologic forecasts, and flood inundation forecasts. And those depend on a lot of data, both historical, from Earth observation, top-down type, or bottom-up gauge information, and surveys such as DEMs and so on, and ways of converting things from one level to the other so that you can help to make that decision better over time. One example in this regard is some of the work that's trying to be done on water information systems. These usually include trying to pull together new kinds of data sets related to what you can measure on the ground, whether from sensors, a new range that is improving every day, as well as new ways of manual monitoring and crowdsourcing of information, as well as a whole new range of Earth observation that you've been discussing all week relating to new approaches and technologies and possibilities there. Linking it up with data rescue, because a lot of data, unfortunately, is like those piles of paper that you see there from real places that we visited in the recent past, even, where the only digestion of information there is probably from termites. And to try and link that and make it more modern with GIS and other data sets, as well as new ways of managing the data and linking up with analytical tools, so that it could be accessed in different platforms, whether virtual or physical platforms, to alert different stakeholders and help them manage things better. And this is where a range of new technologies, especially some of the new big data, machine learning, and so on, can become really useful in terms of getting to the next level of integrating all of these to help make decisions around the world. One area where we've been working with GeoGLOWS is to try and help countries around the world to access what's probably the jewel in the crown in GeoGLOWS currently, which is some of the work which has been done by BYU, Aquaveo, and a whole range of other partners on looking at stream flow forecasts or stream flow estimation, where if we look, for example, in this case, at the beginning of the Blue Nile in just south of Ethiopia's biggest lake, Lake Tana, you have ways now of being able to look at any of the stream flow segments and looking at all the 51 models of the ECMWF and seeing what that means in terms of flow forecast for the next 15 days or historical data for the last 40 years, which you can analyze and also use to do bias correction so that you can better estimate a lot of the data sets that you're looking at for decision support. So what we've been doing in terms of our support on GeoGLOWS is participating right from the beginning in some of the GeoGLOWS meetings, conferences, discussions, helping support generation of new ideas in this regard, learning from everybody to try and see how we could educate our own staff as well as our clients on some of these tools, and to also support this with resources. For example, we've been doing a lot in terms of some of the global efforts, as well as linking up with our tools like Spatial Agent and so on, as well as deep dives in particular parts of the world, such as Ethiopia, West Africa, Somalia, and now we are looking at the Arab world and so on. And some of these are also supporting new additions to these stream flow forecasts and linking it up also with better linking it with the ECMWF resources that are there. So we've been leveraging a lot of resources, both from the bank's own resources, as well as client resources, for example, in the case of a lot of countries to help organize meetings through project resources or using reimbursable advisory services and so on to finance some of these. And to link up also with some of our internal and external partnerships for these types of products and services, which includes a lot of the hydroinformatics and watersheds and other groups within the bank, as well as some of one of the help desks that I run, for example, called the Disruptive Skills Help Desk, knowledge, information, and data services, which can help teams better on these areas, and linking up with the Open Learning Campus on some of the training aspects of this, which we wanted to deepen in the future. So looking ahead, a suggestion for all of you is to see if we can make sure that a lot of these basic products and services are still free and low cost so that they can benefit even the poorer countries and poorer stakeholders that we work with and don't remain something that only the rich can afford. And also to see if we can do this through more and more using open APIs, open source platforms, and so on, so that these can be automated and used even where there's a lot of capacity challenges in most of the places where we work. That's a main fact. And to try and see how to reduce costs by doing more virtual or online knowledge packaging or training and so on. And also moving from retail level work, which has been happening to look at one base in one country, to more wholesale level global approaches like the GeoGLOWS is trying to promote. And also to see if we can leverage more resources so that we can leverage different institutions to help look at how they can support these activities with their work and better integrate it into a lot of these activities that they're already doing. And the unfortunate COVID situation we are in is the only silver lining is that it's also served as an accelerant to encourage everyone to start thinking about some of these newer technologies. And many of the bank staff and clients are interested to see how we can better leverage a lot of these resources going ahead to go to more remote kind of data services that people can count on for a lot of the work that they're doing. And the final point is that we really should be seeing how we can make these even better in the future, leveraging a lot of these EO services, adding more machine learning and other aspects so that we can help a lot of the clients around the world that we work with. And we look forward to continuing a lot of our collaboration with you going ahead. Thank you.